Have you ever heard a motorcycle so sharp, so alive, that it felt like it wanted to leap out from under you? A bike that didn't just go fast, it redefined what fast meant. That's the Honda CBR 900RR Fireblade. And today, we're taking a deep dive into its story from its radical birth in the early 90 seconds to the cutting-edge superbike it has become today. This isn't just about horsepower and weight. It's about philosophy, obsession, and one man's vision of the ultimate rider's machine. So, strap in, because this is the story of how the Fireblade changed everything. Our story begins with a man named Tadao Baba, an engineer at Honda with a rebellious streak. In the late 1980 seconds, the superbike world was dominated by big, heavy machines like the GSX-R 1100, Yamaha FZR 1000, and Kawasaki ZX-10. Power was king, but agility? Not so much. Baba had a different dream. He didn't want the fastest bike on paper. He wanted the best bike on the road. His mantra was simple: total control. He proposed a bike that combined the power of a liter machine with the handling of a 600cc sport bike, something unheard of at the time. Honda's management thought he was crazy, but they let him try. And in 1992, the world met the CBR 900RR Fireblade. It weighed just 185 kilograms dry, nearly 35 kilos lighter than its competitors. Its 893cc inline-four engine produced 122 horsepower. Not the most in the class, but with that weight, it didn't matter. It had a short wheelbase, narrow chassis, and razor-sharp steering geometry. And then there were the details. The tiny headlights, the bold tiger stripe graphics, and the now iconic Fireblade name. It wasn't just a motorcycle. It was a declaration. Speed isn't just about power. It's about balance. After the shockwave of the original Fireblade, Honda didn't rest. In 1994 came the second generation CBR 900RR, or the SC28. The changes looked subtle, but Baba's philosophy was always about feel. New suspension settings, a slightly stiffer chassis, and refined bodywork improved stability at high speed without sacrificing agility. Power climbed slightly, and weight dropped again. Then came the 1996 model, SC33. Lighter wheels, updated suspension, and a fresh fairing design that looked sleeker, more aerodynamic. It was still the Fireblade spirit, just sharpened. By this point, the Fireblade had created a new category, the leader class superbike. It wasn't about big power anymore. It was about precision, and every competitor wanted a slice of that pie. As the millennium rolled in, competition grew fierce. Yamaha had the R1 Lite, aggressive and devastatingly fast. Baba and his team knew the Fireblade needed to evolve. Enter the CBR 929RR SC44. Launched in 2000, it wasn't just an update, it was a complete redesign. The engine grew to 929cc. Now with fuel injection, a first for the Fireblade. It introduced Honda's PGM-FI system, improving throttle response and efficiency. Weight was still kept under control, at around 170 kilograms dry, thanks to a new titanium exhaust and aluminum frame. But perhaps the biggest leap was in chassis technology. The swing arm was directly connected to the back of the engine, improving stiffness. And the bike featured 43mm upside-down forks, a superbike first for the Fireblade. It was faster, smarter, and more composed than ever. Then came the CBR 954RR SC50 in 2002, arguably the pinnacle of Baba's Fireblade philosophy. Displacement rose again to 954 cc. Horsepower jumped to 154, and weight dropped to an incredible 168 kilograms dry. That's lighter than many 600 seconds of the time. Every nut, every bolt, every component had been touched by the pursuit of lightness. The frame was thinner yet stiffer, the brakes more powerful, the engine more responsive, and the feel, the legendary Fireblade agility was better than ever. But all good things must evolve. By 2004, Tadao Baba retired, and Honda decided the Fireblade had to change direction. 2004 marked a rebirth. The CBR 1000RR SC57. The name changed. The philosophy shifted, but the Fireblade spirit lived on. Now, with a 998cc engine, Honda's goal was to dominate the Superbike World Championship. The SC57 introduced Unit Pro-Link suspension, radial brakes, and Honda Electronic Steering Damper, HESD, the first of its kind on a production motorcycle. It was heavier and more stable than the 954RR, but it brought a new level of precision at high speed. Where the original Fireblade danced, this one carved. In 2006, updates included new fueling maps and minor weight reductions, improving mid-range power and throttle feel. Honda's pursuit of refinement continued. Then came 2008, a year of shock and awe. The CBR 1000RR SC59 arrived with an all-new look. Compact, muscular, aggressive. Its 999cc engine produced 178 horsepower and featured a slipper clutch for smoother downshifts. Weight dropped again to 199 kilograms wet. But the real innovation was in the electronics. Honda was finally embracing digital control, precise fuel mapping, advanced ignition control, and improved traction management made it not just powerful but usable. The SC59's design split opinions, especially that snub-nose front, but its performance silenced critics. It was a bike that could win on the track and thrill on the road. By the 2010 seconds, the Superbike arms race was in full swing. Electronics, traction control, and ride-by-wire were becoming standard. Honda took a different approach: refinement over revolution. The 2012 CBR 1000RR wasn't radical, but it was beautifully balanced. Revised suspension, new Showa big piston forks, updated bodywork, and improved fueling made it one of the most rider-friendly superbikes ever built. It wasn't the most powerful, but it was the most honest. Honda called it Total Control 2, and riders loved it for that. In 2017, Honda unveiled a completely new Fireblade lighter, faster, smarter. Two versions arrived: CBR 1000RR Fireblade SP, CBR 1000RR Fireblade SP2. The focus was on intelligence. Ride-by-wire, 5-axis IMU, power modes, traction control, and cornering ABS made their debut. Power rose to 189 horsepower, and weight dropped to just 195 kilograms. For the first time, the Fireblade had truly joined the digital era. It was no longer just mechanical perfection. It was electronically enhanced precision. And then came 2020. Honda dropped the bomb. CBR 1000RRR Fireblade, a name so long it needed its own license plate. But this wasn't just a new version. This was a MotoGP-inspired weapon. A brand new 999cc inline-4, derived from the RC213VS, Honda's road-legal MotoGP replica. It screamed to 14,500 revolutions per minute, producing 214 horsepower, numbers once reserved for race bikes. Aerodynamic winglets, ride-by-wire, launch control, slipper clutch, quick shifter, cornering ABS, and a TFT display straight from the future. And the chassis? Razor sharp, longer swing arm, optimized weight distribution, and electronic everything. The result? A Fireblade that's not just a superbike, it's a scalpel for the racetrack. In 2022 and 2024, Honda refined it even further. Improved mid-range torque, new aerodynamics, and revised electronics. The latest generation isn't just powerful, it's predictable. The Fireblade has come full circle, from Baba's lightweight dream to a MotoGP-inspired masterpiece. And yet, the heart remains the same. Total control. More than 30 years later, the Fireblade's DNA still defines what a superbike should be. Not just numbers, not just lap times, but the feeling of connection between rider and machine. Tadao Baba once said, "The Fireblade is not about power. It's about balance between man and machine." And maybe that's why, after all these years, the Fireblade still cuts the deepest